Hey everybody, if you don't know me, my name is Matt Cantrell. I'm on staff with Ichthus, and I just first of all want to say thank you for opening and watching this video. If you haven't been around, we have been going through the Gospel of John these last couple months, and we have recognized that there are many a theme in the book of John. And in order to fully understand the whole work of John's gospel, we need to be able to break it down and kind of recognize some of the themes that are very influential and kind of string through the gospel. So we're just going to hop right in. If you haven't noticed, we don't live in a two-dimensional world. That means when you look at me, maybe on the screen I'm flat, but if you were here in this room, you would see that there's more to me. You would be able to touch me, you'd be able to see me from all these different angles. And as people, because we live like this physically, we have a propensity to move it to different aspects in our life and to apply it there. So if you think of empathy, for instance, that's a different angle at looking at the world. You look at it through someone else's shoes. So if I'm on a roller coaster with someone who's afraid of heights, say my buddy's over here and he's kind of crying and it looks like he's wet himself a little bit, I could choose to handle it in kind of a less compassionate way, and I could look at him and go, that's disgusting, dude, you're gross. Or I could look at it from an empathetic way, and I could say, hey, if I were scared of heights, how would I handle it? I would probably be pretty similar to him, I guess. Or if you see a little quarrel around you, you will want to see the different sides of the story. So if I'm kind of crying, little weepy, saying, "Hey, somebody hit me," which I didn't want them to, you wouldn't necessarily just respond immediately with, "They shouldn't have done that, Matt. That's not fair. Bad things happen to good people." No, you would say, "Matt, what did you do to bring that up, or what begot that?" And if I said, "Oh, I saw a photo of their baby and I said it was really gross, and then I ripped it and threw it on the ground," you would go, "Yeah, you had that coming, Matt. You shouldn't have done that. It makes sense that you got hit." So as humans, we are well aware that there are many different perspectives that can help us explain or understand the same incident. So, in the Bible, the first 4 books in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are Gospels. They're the good news, the story of Jesus, almost in a biographical way, in a lot of ways. But what sets the book of John apart from the others is that he writes that he has a distinct ultimate purpose in his book. So I'll just read it to you guys real quick. It's John chapter 20, verses 30 and 31. It says, "Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book, but these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." So that is the ultimate express purpose of this book, is that the readers will see who Jesus is, the Son of God, the Messiah, the promised Redeemer in the Old Testament, and that they will believe and have eternal life in his name. But there's a lot of layers that get you there. So one commentator, when describing the Gospel of John, said, "John's Gospel differs in many ways from the other 3 Gospels. John offers a rich and unique narrative Christology, the study of Christ. By weaving together a complex tapestry of images and concepts, each of which, sometimes in dizzying ways, overlaps with and helps interpret the others." And I'll tell you, as someone who's been trying to study and prepare teachings on the Gospel of John this last semester, it can be dizzying sometimes in a lot of different ways, because there are so many different themes, there are so many different angles that it seems like John tried to write about Jesus from. And it's very much like an actual tapestry. I don't know if you've ever seen how tapestry is made or whatever, but it's these like a ton of different strings, chords, however you want to say it, that are different colors that you just kind of weave in and out and throughout. Um, that when you look at it, it doesn't make a ton of sense that it would point to what the final product will be. But when you look at it from a larger scheme of things and you zoom in and look at it, you go, oh, that's what that was for. In the same way that if you've ever heard of photographic mosaics, that's the same way that they kind of work. Photographic mosaics are those photos of like people. So if you took this little photo of me and stacked it next to like 1,000 other photos of people, and you'd get this grand photo of a mountainside or a river or something like that. It's kind of like that, where you see the big picture, but you look in and you say, "Hey, there's Matt in there. I didn't know he was a river." Or if you look within literature, if you've ever taken an English course that kind of describes dramatic structure, it's that parabola-looking thing where there's rising action, there's the climax of the story, the falling action or something, and then the conclusion. So that's the big story of the gospel, if you look at it, the big story of the Bible. But if you look in, say maybe right here on the rising action, you will see another story. You'll see one of the prophets, and you go, but within there's their own dramatic structure, their own parabola. So, in order to understand the grand scheme of the Bible, the grand dramatic structure, you need to understand the smaller ones. So much like Harry Potter, The Little Mermaid, or the Odyssey, or anything in between, the Bible has a general story flow. However, there are countless other stories within, countless other concepts that have their own dramatic structure in the midst of a greater structure. So as we look at the greater flow of the Bible, there are details that should pop off the page at us. And the Gospel of John is absolutely riddled with these details that are woven in and out of the greater tapestry of the good news of Jesus Christ, that should push us to understand more fully what this ingenious first-hand account of the life of Jesus has to tell us. So if you've listened to me teach, or you've heard other people refer to the Gospel of John, it has been said that the Gospel of John is so shallow that a child can wade in it, and so deep that an elephant can drown. So our hope with these videos, looking at the thematic areas of the Gospel of John, is to further impact some of the deeper areas. It's for us to zoom in a little bit to those smaller aspects, those little structures, the little photos, so that we can understand through these less noticed but unbelievably pertinent details what the ultimate photo is, so that we can look at it and we can recognize and appreciate the little pieces in between. So this is what we'll be doing over the next couple weeks, hoping to put out a couple of these videos just on little themes. But until next time, I'm going to go watch more YouTube videos on tapestry and how to make it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.